throw if you rake.
Wasn't that great news about San Francisco?
Here we are. We're turning off the water. That was at a rate of 84 million gallons a year. As of today with the aerators, that ceases.
You feel better about today than you did yesterday?
Yeah.
Why?
We accomplished something. First, really, for the city of Pittsburgh. First time we're putting aerators in. We are cleaning up this lake. We are making it usable again for the community. And the community should be number one in everybody's book. And we need to do more of that. We need to get our community back into fishing, into park activities, into being families again.
Amen on that. You know what? There were so many people who stopped by here yesterday, and they wanted to know what was going on over here. When I told them, they all had a story to tell me about what ice fishing and all the other activities. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you hope to see that kind of activity again here?
I hope to see it. I know the perils and the litigation that we are typically deal with. As long as it's done safely, because I want everybody to go home at the end of the day as a family.
I can remember skating on this pond with a daughter on either side, and I was trying to hold them up, and who goes down, but I went down. And man, that hurt. But it was a great time. It was great for families to be able to come and get together. The other things I remember about this lake, I have one son, and he and a neighbor used to come down here and fish. I don't ever remember their bringing anything home to eat.
Boy, them memories is coming back to me sitting here for this hour or so that I've been up here, and it just feels so good to be able to see this getting cleaned up, where I could bring my grandkids and some of the other neighbor kids and them up to enjoy what I enjoyed it years ago.
Highland Park, Lake Carnegie, is a historical lake, and it was dying, and the city was spending a lot of money providing potable water to that lake. July 18th and 19th were two of the hottest days of this summer in the city of Pittsburgh, and 7 men and 1 woman from the Eastern community shared a common interest. That interest was to save Pittsburgh's residents the cost of providing potable water to Lake Carnegie in Highland Park. At the same time, provide our youth in the city of Pittsburgh with quality fishing in their own backyard.
Well, first let's see if we blow a bubble.
Engineer and project manager Richard Lieb has a plan and a solution that will save city residents money and at the same time revive Lake Carnegie in Highland Park for inner city youth to experience quality fishing. Mr. Lieb shared his plan with the Let's Go Fishing Ministry, and that is when volunteers from the community and members from 3 local churches became involved.
We're in the Navy now.
A Highland Park ranger observed the volunteers working on the lake and explains.
Everyone here in attendance today are volunteers. There are absolutely 0 individuals here who are sent by the city specifically for this task. I myself am here an extension through the City Parks program using the Student Conservation Association, the SCA, that hires us on as interns. So we are not here in a assigned capacity, we are in a personal stewardship capacity. We would like, as much as any other individuals that live in this community, to see this back the way it was. Part of our training is basic history of the parks we're assigned to, and based on the history I've read about Highland Park and the people I've spoke to in the community that can remember their grandfathers teaching their dads how to fish down here, I would like to foster that atmosphere of personal stewardship from the community towards the lake so that everybody feels prideful and responsible for the maintenance and the health of this body of water.
Theodore Towns agrees with the park ranger. Lake Carnegie can become a special place for the community to take care of and adopt.
If we can get it just for a moment, if we can get it to that pristine state where people will actually think about when they start to throw something out of habit.
Yeah.
And they'll, you know, I believe we can, this will get to a state where it can intercept people's habits, people's bad habits.
Right.
Where somebody starts to throw something and they realize, oh, whoops, let's stick it in my pocket. Or wait till I find a trash can. Or maybe it'll get to a state, it'll move the city to put more trash cans in place.
Well, yeah.
You know, some simple stuff
I mean,
like that.
there's lots of room for the community to come in and support what has happened here. Mm-hmm. And I think when everyone is feeling kind of down and depressed, and somebody needs to do something, well, somebody has done something. So now it's time to call the community to a place of accountability.
That's the back to not waiting for somebody to tell your story, but you telling your own story.
Yeah. The Chersky family of Highland Park has a love for the park. They visit here often with their son. The Cherskys are both educators in the Pittsburgh public school system, and they view the city parks as a valuable educational tool. You make sure your children have some kind of fishing experience.
Correct.
Okay, would you have liked the opportunity for your children to fish here in their own neighborhood?
It would be wonderful. It would be so much more convenient. We could do it on a weeknight. We could do it a lot more often and get a lot more experience doing it. Unfortunately, we can't because of the condition of the parks.
What is the condition of the park?
They're pretty dilapidated. At some points, I would call them even dangerous, and there aren't any fish in them, really, so it gets pretty frustrating.
Okay. But you continue to come down here. Why is that?
Oh, it's close. It's beautiful. It has such great potential, and we have caught a couple of fish, so it always keeps you coming back, even once in 100. You still live for that once.
What value do you find in being able to come here and fish? How does that help the kids?
Oh, it teaches them patience. It teaches them problem-solving skills. He understands, and he has to think, well, if it's warm weather, cold weather, where the fish might be, you just understand a lot more about nature and about, you know, yourself, and just sitting and waiting and/or, you know, not giving up. That tenacity, that grit.
Bill and his son Dylan are one of the 7 volunteers to help set aerators in the lake, with the hope of improving fishing opportunity for all of Pittsburgh's youth. What was the last 2 days like, Bill?
The last 2 days were fantastic. A bunch of different people coming together, working really hard to do something really positive for the city of Pittsburgh. And most of it was done with the youth in mind, getting youth back involved and having it convenient to fish. Not only convenient to fish, but have quality fishing. And to also bring life back to a stagnant lake that's right in our backyard. It's been tremendous, and I've met some great people. We've had a lot of great support and a lot of camaraderie, and it's been challenging. It's tough work. It's not easy. We laid hundreds of feet of hose and hundreds of pounds of hose, and been out on water with all of that weight and distributing things. It's been fantastic.
It's not often that we have a chance to wish for something and pray for something and then have it happen within our lifetime. You had it happen within about 90, maybe 120 days.
120 days it came through. It's been one of those things that happen in life that you just can't explain. You just kind of have to run with it. But when it happens, you got to jump on and hold on, because it's going to happen quick. And if you really want something to happen, you do have to be one of the people that jumps on and helps it move forward. Because if you don't, then you're just a hypocrite. And then you're just wishing, you're not doing. My life is more about doing than it is wishing.
What about volunteerism? Is there something wrong that maybe we can't get enough Pittsburghers to volunteer for projects?
I'm not sure. I know that it was really a blessing for me to be off. I'm a teacher, so it didn't cost anything. It just cost me my time. And I know that some volunteers actually took vacation days to come here, and that wasn't the case for me. I had the time, it was free, and I chose to spend it doing this rather than anything else. But perhaps that's it. It costs people effort and time, and
Well,
in some ways money.
Yes, and I want to thank you, because what you've done here is going to pay off 100-fold in terms of the youth that will be able to come down here in your classroom. There's another young lady at Dilworth who brings kids in. I'm trying to reach her. So just think about holding classrooms right here.
I think it'll be perfect, and it's one of those opportunities where you have a captivated audience and you have them doing something that's a little off their equilibrium. And when you start pushing comfort zones, people open up, and once they start opening up to things like fishing, they start to open up to other things in their life. And the more and more they open up, the more and more capable they are of doing any scope of different diverse things.
Theodore Towns, a retired chemistry professor and research chemist, is also concerned about his community. He volunteered and was amazed at the scope of the work completed in a few days.
Collaboration, the coordination, the teamwork. I was remarkably impressed with a bunch of guys from ostensibly a map full of different backgrounds and livelihoods coming together on this project, and there wasn't any there was very little ego shown. You know, people that knew confidently, that knew what needed to happen in any particular microcosmic event. They just said about it, and they said about it in a way that drew people in. I mean, I got a pretty broad experience base, and particularly on engineering kinds of mechanical things. I've been building stuff since, you know, erector sets and long before Legos. And so I've got a pretty well-developed and accurate sense of how things get done. So it's, I shouldn't say it this way, but just for perspective, it's pretty easy for me in a diverse, different setting to get bossy. I didn't have to do any of that. It never even crossed my mind, because I would make a suggestion to somebody or kind of point the way, and it just all came, the cohesiveness and the cooperation of the people that came out that day was divinely inspired. There's no other way to say it. I mean, we got along so, and the fact that we got that done in 2 days is really with a bunch of oddballs. I didn't mean, that's not a good word, but the fact that we got it done with folks from other disciplines coming together the way we did, that we got that done in 2 days, is, I mean, you know, God put that together. It is so clear. He brought us all, and the breakfast that started out the day, I mean, that was really thinking. You know, let's have a little time for some fellowship and camaraderie, and get some energy in us, and get ready to work, and then and I mean, we hit the ground running. Those 2 days, I haven't experienced something like that in ages.
You know, why not just gather together a little early and I could make breakfast. I always like making breakfast on the weekends for my family, so why not just have everyone show up a little bit early and we can gather together, eat breakfast together, and then head over to the lake.
Well, your family got bigger that day, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a good breakfast. And Theo talked about how it's set up. It's set up an attitude of not only the nourishment, but also that brotherly love, that kind of situation where people can move together and get things done. And everybody has marveled at that, what was accomplished in 2 days. And I mean, I tell you, at one time, I was about ready to just cry. I really was. I mean, I felt so overwhelmed that I did not know how we were going to get through that. And did you feel overwhelmed? Did you feel like that was something that could be done? It could be done within a time span?
No, I think whenever, is it Richard was the gentleman from PWSA that was describing our task at the beginning of the morning. I had my doubts. I really didn't think. I thought we maybe get a good start on it, but just knowing how things usually go and how you don't get as much done as you hope to, or there's always unforeseen things that come up. I did have my doubts. I really didn't think that we would get everything done. I thought we'd make a good start, maybe get a few of the hoses installed, but really didn't expect to make as much progress as we did.
The fact that Rich had done such exquisite planning. I mean, we knew exactly where things were going. We had a very judicious amount, a well-planned amount of materials in place. You know, there's what, 1,200 feet? No more than that. There's this hard to imagine footage of different size tubing that had to be available, and we might have been left with 120 feet that wasn't used. I mean, that's like serious budget consciousness. That's efficiency. And yeah, the efficiency of the work, the cheerfulness. I mean, this was an ideal work day. The people, the attitude, the weather. I mean, it could have been raining.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to go from here. We're going to go down along the pier. So if a couple of you can walk.
Minister Edward Caldwell, who occasionally brings a bucket of crappies from other lakes and dumps them into Lake Carnegie so the youth will have something to fish for, could not pass up the opportunity to help revive the lake and youth fishing in Pittsburgh.
I got there and I seen the activity that was going on. I seen you guys pulling the cables. I seen the boats there. I seen the aerators, and everybody was working, trying to get it done. I just jumped in, and it was. I mean, it's so amazing to be able to help out and work with a group of people who have a mission, something that they wanted to get accomplished, something that was much needed, especially in that lake. That I've been all my life been around that lake and could see the potential, but all of a sudden now we had a group of people that was willing and working to get something done. So it was a beautiful sight to see that. It was a hot day, but you needed it to be hot because it was, you know, it was a lot of water. We didn't have any rain or anything, and everybody worked together. It was a fantastic day. It really was. And like I said, just seeing the aerators there and knowing what was going to happen once those aerators were installed, and the water would just start becoming more and more oxygenated and pure, and fish would grow more rapidly and grow in long time, live a lot longer as well. And the possibilities of putting some fish in there that would attract anglers to come and fish. Anglers of all ages. As you know, you can go up to that park, and at any given day you can find the little kid 6 or 7 years old. You can also find a 60-year-old lady sitting there trying to catch some of those little fish too. But the fish are so small. I mean, they're most of the ones that are in there are probably 3 inches at max. There may be some a little bit bigger than that, but not very many. But by what we're doing and trying to fix that lake up, what a great opportunity it was. And it didn't go very well. I mean, it was painstakingly difficult to get those aerators and those hoses connected up, stretched across the lake. I believe the first day we got 8. I believe it was 8 out of 12. And nobody wanted to stop. It was 5:30, almost 6 o'clock, and everybody had been there since 9 o'clock. So everybody was tired, and being in the boat, like you said, it was hot, and that sun bouncing off of the aluminum boats made it even hotter. So it wasn't very friendly at that. By that time, you were drained. But everyone volunteered to come back the next day. And that was so special. I mean, again, remember, these are volunteers. To see the pastor in Eastminster Church come out was even, I mean, he worked like the rest of us. I didn't even realize he was the pastor until afterwards. The man worked tirelessly. He pulled the cables and the hoses and dropped the aerators, and it was such a beautiful sight to see a group of men come together to get the job done. And we were from all different neighborhoods, all different churches, probably all different religions. I know all different ages to come together and to get it done. It was just an amazing feat to have it done. So, and day two was not any different. Day two, the same group of guys come back out. The only difference in day two is we had the experience from day one.
I caught one. I caught one. I heard one. Can I bring it in?
She got another one. Studies show that our youth spend less time outdoors with nature than their parents did as children. This is a dangerous trend as it robs them of crucial developmental opportunities. Susan Chersky, a school board communication officer, comments.
Our children need to experience a variety of opportunities, and I think our students could definitely benefit from a day outside of the city, at a lake. I mean, being here at the lake for an after-school program would be incredibly helpful for our students. I think it would be incredibly beneficial, and our kids need to see that there is more beyond the walls, the boundaries of the city of Pittsburgh. We have children that never leave their neighborhoods, and it's so incredibly important for them to be out among a diverse group of individuals, to learn new things, to get new experiences, because that makes them a well-rounded individual, and that's really what we're about, is creating children that are ready for a global market and a global world, and we have to make sure that they have those experiences.
When we had one of our first fishing derbies, we had this one kid, he got off the bus, and they said he had never been out of the city before. And he was just amazed when he came out here, driving out here to see all this stuff. Like, he didn't realize that there was all this out here. Yeah. And I was, it blew me away that I was like, seriously, this kid had never been out of the city? And they claimed that he, several of them had been that way, that they really had never been out of the limits of the city. And it's just, how could you, live to be be a teenager and never have been here, been out in the country and seen all this.
This has been a magnificent summer for the Let's Go Fishing Ministry, as the community and ministry had the opportunity to reach out and complete a task that the city and state found to be challenging. We believe no child should be denied the opportunity to fish when a water resource is available. It is time for all agencies involved to correct the decision of the past. We also believe that Pittsburgh needs to host fishing derbies like other major cities for the emotional and mental health of our youth and to strengthen our future families.